Hey guys, welcome to the first video of the channel, and in this video I'll be talking about the vision of our channel, the intent with which I've begun this channel. So as children, I'm sure most of you might have thought about this. Does the universe actually have an end? And if I keep traveling out into space and keep going on forever, will I actually reach the end of the universe? And if I reach the end of the universe, what will I actually find there? So this is among numerous other questions you might have felt curious about as children. Now, in an Indian setting, if you were to ask about this to an adult around you, they'd probably say, study what you're meant to study and don't ask unnecessary questions. Or they'll probably come up with a religious answer like, there's God waiting for you at the end of the universe, or there's heaven at the end of the universe. Now, you might find answer to a few of these questions in science classes at school, but most probably you'll have to settle for these silly answers. Now, this is because nobody actually cares as long as you can get good grades and get into a good university. Very often we hear people say that they want to complete their formal education as soon as possible and settle down in a well-paying, stable job because they've been studying for so long and they're fed up. Now, somehow most of us have developed an aversion to learning, and I don't actually blame anyone for this, because even Einstein at one point of his life said, and I quote, "The final examinations had such deterring effects on me that I found consideration of any scientific problem distasteful for one whole year." And it is little short of a miracle that the modern methods have not yet completely strangled the holy curiosity of inquiry. This just means that even Einstein was fed up of studies at one point of his life. Now, yes, you can sit back and blame the education system for this, but that's not something you can change overnight or even over a decade. Now, with the advent of the internet, you have all the information in the world available at your fingertips. So this, coupled with the curiosity we talked about earlier, can help you learn anything. So that'll be the first motto of our channel: learning driven by curiosity, and you need not rely on any education system for this. But I have to emphasize, going to school has its own importance, like learning the basics of language, getting exposure to some of the most basic concepts of science, and learning skills like working in a team and all that. But if you feel curious about something, please do go out there and find the answer out for yourself, and never let schooling interfere with your education. I'd like to introduce the term scientific temper here. I'm going to narrate a personal story to do that. So in 12th standard, most of us might have learned about hydrogen bonding in water, which is a property exclusive to water, which makes its liquid state denser than its solid. So by intuition, we normally expect a solid to be denser than its liquid, but due to hydrogen bonding, water is the only substance with its liquid state denser than its solid state. We also learned about real world examples where hydrogen bonding comes to significance, like the polar ice caps floating in order to make life possible, marine life possible underneath in the polar regions. I don't want to get into the molecular physics of this, but I just want you to understand that if the atoms of hydrogen and oxygen were any different, this would not have been possible, and ice would have sank to the bottom, and it would keep repeating till the entire ocean in the polar region freezes. I always wondered how well God might have fashioned the atoms of hydrogen and oxygen in order to make this possible, and I kept thinking that for a very long time. So fast forward to third year in college, I started watching an American sitcom called The Big Bang Theory, and it had a lot of references to books, and among those books was one called The Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. And in this book, I came across a principle called the anthropic principle, and it blew my mind. Now, the anthropic principle states that if you are to explain why the universe you see is as it is, it needs to have qualities that allows the evolution of intelligent creatures that can ask these questions. Let's understand this a little better. So all of you might be familiar with the theory of the multiverse from the Marvel movies. Let's consider three alternate universes, universe A, B and C. In universe A, we have water with hydrogen bonding and all the properties that water has in this particular universe, in our universe. And in universe B and C, we have water with slightly different properties. In universe A, the properties of water are such that it favors the evolution of intelligent life, and this leads to the evolution of intelligent beings that can ask questions about the properties of water in universe A, while this is not possible in universe B or C. So the best explanation as to why we are here asking questions about the properties of water as we see it in our universe is because if the properties of water would have been any different, we would have not been here to ask this question. Earlier, I had to rely on a supernatural deity to come up with an explanation. So this reliance on a supernatural force, I think, can be traced back to the very early stage of human civilization. Now, humans when encountered with a natural phenomenon that cannot be explained by their intuition, they probably, the first option that comes to their mind would be the intervention of a supernatural deity. Now we see the early humans, they saw the fire burning down forests, they saw the wrath of the ocean, they saw earthquakes, and each and every time they thought of this as the wrath of a god, and thus we created our first god. Even among the most primitive humans, there was someone who dared to look beyond the barriers set by intuition, find order from the underlying chaos, and come up with the scientific explanations for the world around him. And thus we had our first scientist. All the marvels of the modern society that you can see around you is the result of years of observation, experimentation, and inference. So I think we owe it to the future generations to continue this scientific aptitude, this scientific temper. So it is this scientific temper that I want to see in all of you, and that is what our channel is going to be all about. We'll be looking at we'll be looking at phenomena around us, and we'll come up with explanations for it using science. Now I've decided to call our channel The Horizon because I think that is the perfect metaphor, the perfect symbolism for what science has to offer. I hope all of you know what a horizon is. It is the point in your field of view where the land meets the sky, or the water meets the sky if you are at sea. As you keep traveling towards the horizon, you always keep discovering more, but you never truly reach the horizon, and the horizon always keeps you curious. So this is what we intend to do as a channel, and thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.